Thank you.
You guys have a preferred format for the case?
Yeah, for documents. Just anything that's not a Google Doc.
Okay. That works. Do you guys have any preference for the way the docs?
Word.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
Thank you. I don't know when you guys get it. It's fine, but it comes in clear. I just got it. Okay. Are there any interns you guys want us to use? No. Okay. No. Are there any you want us to know? Cool. Everyone done? So it's. No, this is one is if session boards are respected by affirming smart separatism, which are Block 24. African states respect boards, wrong recognition, set precedent, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Sudan's present sanctions movements to destabilize each other, perpetuate prospect strong in other actions, delegitimize AU, identify war. The use policy of maintaining boards is primary recognition, legitimize other movements, Dex call for Alaska's 14, difficult to decide on 1,000 strong UN, national governments no longer cope with pandemics, warming terror, microstates, emerging less capable, sovereignty is a solution, accepted through our superpower led to Second World War. It's distinct, Boston 23, Somaliland, unique, Iridian, South Sudan, share agreement from opposing parties, Somaliland doesn't. Distant 2 is oil. Lack of recognition prevents extraction. Allison 14, Somaliland desperate for one combined reserves without international recognition is a big risk. Miners have to first answer questions about authority to grant exploration licenses. Exploration was dormant as companies fought over legacy contracts. As per Australian intentions, Walls 23, Somaliland reserves are completely viable. Authorities can't enter agreements over extraction, cease operation, previous experience politically viable. Any influx of wealth to create tension, security, through Death 23. Hostile conflict, exploration of war like that to create tension. Both sides fight for control over resources. The clan war spill over 2023. Fighting between Somaliland clans, grand power, region, global wars, battle for one resource, those Somaliland, the center of interest goes nuclear Finnick in 2020, African leaders ended, arbitraries and prolific and low barriers to nuclear war, bonds the whole region, and COP 20, pandemic, accelerating risk, international global ended, wars escalate, attract outside involvement, treaties, expiring talks, bringing down shots of a new high proxy wars, extinction, Solomon 22, deadly points would be carried by winter fall course to the globe, nuclear would end agile life on earth, this had 3 is backlash, Somaliland's de-escalated, Mama 24, Somaliland election underlines stability, clan favor relationship with Mogadishu, fighting has restarted, although risk remains, recognition for Somalia to invade Hassan 24, Somalia's reaction rooted in its perception of Somaliland slipping away, go to war to maintain sovereignty. Somalia's fury third clan ambitions to destabilize Somaliland. Somaliland suffers from divisive, incompetent admin. Add SC24. Somalia uses every means famous existential. China intervenes to deny Taiwan relations. SC20. China delivered large military aid to Somalia, impelling to retaliate against Somaliland, which established ties with Taiwan. Egypt will blockade Somaliland. IDAN 24. Existential for Egypt, pumping blockade concerns recognition, fragmentation of Somalia, strip a critical ally and control over the trade in the Suez. Somalia create all paths via Barrow, weakening Egypt's influence, blockade, disrupt international markets, trade, devastating stability, lacks all routes. They empower Somalia, Paravinci 24. Egypt delivered military aid to Somalia after Ethiopia deal with Somaliland. Lash out ignites conflict, Bay 24. Recognition increases war. Ethiopia perceives Egypt's presence as a threat, increases tensions to disrupt entire region, porous borders. Jihad 4 is Diplo. Africa is on the brink of conflict, thwarting regional alliances. Super 24. Looming war at Ethiopia signed memorandum with Somaliland. Somalia sees this as a violation of territorial integrity, led to alignments with external powers, create discord. New deal keeps conflict at bay. Single 25. Countries agree to collaborate on AU stabilization negotiations and Haramark breakthrough arrangements. Grant Ethiopia access to it'll hold a Mall 24. Turkey's approach of materialistically addressing issues will extend the de-escalation period into mid-2025, which is key to regionalism. Mohammed 24. The framework enhanced counter-terror collab and intel sharing highlight value of AU service, a blueprint for resolving conflicts through negotiation, contingent on non-recognition. Khalesi 24. Compromise sovereignty of Somalia, precondition Somaliland recognition voided, and diplomacy is up in Ghazi 24. AU very progressive and guided constitutionalism, increasingly a future civil society growing, equitable taking on child, affirming Dexa of all 24. Independent Somaliland for worse than 10 years. Somalia views the move as a direct challenge and post-diplomatic cause, expense, Nikel, identify for 2024. Not the post-work conditions, the ability process is necessary to sustain sovereignty states require a hard line against acknowledgement of new entity discuss, breaching complicating different more lobbying the AU to propagate this model and cause and collapse of the AU all 24. Ethiopian Somalia is a tie set of precedent for others encourage collab actions, exacerbate tensions, power pressure to align with one side creating divisions, independently destroy after shape for 23. The United States admitted only after conflicting claims have been formally adjusted. Its scapegoat component for 13. Liquidly significant disregard citing precedents undermines treaty. Debates delay the after dream the AU Malua War. Amendment effective 30 days after ratification. As some ratify, others don't. Different legal regimes arise. Outcome of debate is not speeding. Regionalism is an impact holder center 15. Terror autocrats, complex CC, econ, cyber, these interconnected issues can't be dealt with by anyone. Stay respond require overcome divisions. AU shaping global trends work together to innovate solutions. Otherwise, bioterror coming field 23. Barriers to bioterror are going down. Online weapons are reliable. The majority of cities for disposal. Extinction 121. Engineer pathogens spreading kill over and make countermeasures and be introduced. Weapons of the planet. Invested biotech reduce scaling plan needed. After integrates trade for required co-op. Nuclear 23. States must contend with implementation coordination of border ideological battle for after one country's investing for local capital after will transform trade. Solves for Northern 20 trade creates Google and an economic incentive to avoid war protectionism promotes hostility. AU solves conflict just on the 20. AU mediation in Nairobi sent a new mitigate conflict African solution or no mediators and other regions benefit from.
You send the actual doc.
Was that not the dog?
No, you send.
I sent two contentions.
You only sent the first two contentions.
Oh shit, that was an accident. Sorry guys.
No.
Wait, did I really want to?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see it. I'm sorry. It's still on. What does What?
I just want to wait until we receive it.
Okay, that's fine.
Three thank yous. First off, I'd like to thank God for the opportunity to be here and all the opportunity he gives me for my life. Second, I'd like to thank my parents for funding all my debate trips and supporting me. I know it's a lot, me not being here, especially the last 2 weeks, just being home not very often and working around my schedule, but they do the best to do it. I would thank Tab, specifically Jeff and Abby, for hosting a fantastic tournament, both well run, and they spoiled us the entire time with food, gifts, and everything else. I'd like to thank Delbarton for supporting the debate program a lot, and specifically Father Michael, who funds a lot of it and is a big supporter of it, leading to a lot of our success. I'd like to also thank the team. I'd like to thank Riley, Zeke, Rainier, Trevor, Suos, Aiden, and all the novices. You guys prep with us. You guys are like our sole prep group. You guys are always helping us out at tournaments, and you're always encouraging us to do better, especially Zeke and Rainier, who have been a great model for us. I'd also like to thank all our coaches, Brooke, Foss, Mr. Corcoran, Mrs. Gormley, and Carissa, as well as our past coaches, Zach and Noah. All of them have helped me become the debater I am today, and all the success I've had is because of them. And last but not least, I'd like to thank Raymond. I know we don't get along all the time, but I really like being your partner, and you carry me pretty often. So, yeah. So, Doc.
Like something's wrong with my phone. I think it like the third other than succession.
Oh, yeah, we sent it. Wait.
No, I think it still has the same issue with bro.
Wait, yes, is something broken? I just. Wait, okay, here. Okay, wait, let me, I don't know what's going on, I'm sorry.
Let's just check and make sure.
Yeah.
Right through.
Alright, so no. Document sent.
Or
Or at least it should have been sent, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I already got it.
I got yeah. If everyone's ready, my time will begin now. We affirm intention one is governance. Somalia suffering from violence, Costa 24. As the election approached without a single recognition of Somalia's independence, re-election strategies went wary. These strategies have left Somaliland battling divides, stoke Somali nationalism, and fuel tensions. Luckily, recognition stalls Somaliland's domestic challenge and Somalia's desire for war. God, as Missouri 21 provides 2 warrants. 1, formalizing independence focused Montgomery elites' minds on governing. Dramatic regression because of the elites' inability to mediate, expect their federal states seeking autonomy and control. Elites when their absorption with political battles. Second is Somali nationalism, the long-running source of tension. Independent Somaliland undermine the irredentism by making a realization more likely. It's key to maintaining Somalian power and legitimacy. Iraq and Yemen proved Somalia and Monster 21. Recognition has been the defining feature of state. In Iraq and Yemen, international recognition becomes a way of gaining the right to represent a population. Leaders gain legitimacy among domestic constitutes by claiming to have support of international players. Absent action, violence cascades, careless 23. Escalating fighting around the Lasso represents a danger to stability across the corner of Africa. Growing violence and risk a full war and can ignite wider clan confrontation. Inability causes great power involvement as MA24 finds conflict drawn the Red States consider water essential for security. US, China, EU, and have military presence. And Iran and Russia enter the fray. The region becomes a battlefield, disrupting trade and reviving extremist groups. Great power world goes nuclear. Talmud 18. Odds go nuclear are very high because China's nuclear intertwined through conventional military, making it difficult to attack one without attacking the other. And US military campaign targets China. Conventional forces threaten to Chinese leaders to use nuclear weapons while they're still able to do nuclear forces generate pressure to escalate more. This draw also causes extinction. This Plan 23 finds a great power war. Acts and misunderstandings can escalate, and then got caught used to fight rather than negotiate. Nuclear weapons would be used any famine caused by winter, reducing resilience to reach extinction levels. Contention is trafficking. Rising conflicts making the hub of Africa a hub of trafficking. As Goshen 24 finds, the number of migrants from the Horn of Africa have tripled, increasing the risk of human trafficking. Moreover, Ivory 17 finds many migrants become stranded and exploited in transit countries where they rise. In recent years, the region plays a triple role as a source and transit destination for victims. And trappers smuggle Somali women to destinations in West Asia. A lack of recognition means Somaliland cannot get the technical assistance and intelligence to be a sharing hub of enforcement. Chapter 11. Non-recognition that Somaliland stands outside the mechanisms for regulating the flows of people. Somaliland provides a natural departure point for trafficking people into the Arabian Peninsula. Somaliland is denied membership of Interpol and mechanisms for tracing criminals and cross-national crime. And Interpol breaks up and deters criminal networks and to traffic people. Lesson 23. Interpol's comment on human trafficking and rescuing victims by raising awareness, identifying victims, disrupting trafficking networks. Interpol recognized the need to facilitate interstate cooperation. 9.2 million people in Africa endure modern slavery. Interpol actively enhances the capacity of these stakeholders in Africa, including the security, governance, and legal sectors. The impact is intergenerational traumas. Ultimate 17 finds 70 symptoms of depression and PTSD reported by 78% of women survivors. Contention 3 is slaughs. Red Sea insurgency is proven at risk of slaughter right now. Symbol 24. Red Sea is a major artillery cable connecting Europe to West Africa and West Asia. Africa is the choking point is at risk right now. And Houthis threats against cables connecting all regions of the world. Recognize Somaliland enables seizing assets. Rockford 10. A recognition of Somaliland will strengthen the accountability in governments in regions that have piracy infections. Institutions can follow the illicit flows of money with international support and legislation. Piracy-filled assets and bank accounts can be seized. Moreover, countries are waiting for the AU before they recognize Somaliland. Schwartz 21. The AU lead the process to resolve Somaliland status. The AU has legitimacy to address the issue authoritatively in the eyes of the international community. Independently, also enables Israel cooperation. Filament 24. Israel will set base in Somaliland to attack the Houthi groups. Recognizing Somaliland as an independent state, enhancing national security. Location in the Horn of Africa leads to strategic importance because it's situated at the entrance of straits and Red Seas at the focal point due to Houthi attacks, slaughs, collapse, fuel, nuclear miscalculation, and preemptive strikes. Clark 16. Lost communication for minutes can be catastrophic. It's unable to decode messages. Aggressors can use coordinated attacks on cables to cut and censor information, preventing nuclear armed opponent from monitoring weapons, and the country targeted can initiate a preemptive strike. Moreover, crossings Emily and Claire from C2 on great power drawn from instability and great power war causing extinction. Thus, Delbarton is proud to affirm.
Crossbar.
Yeah.
Do you want to stand or sit?
On the stand for video.
Sure.
Anything? I'm thinking about it. Exactly.
Well, Chris, listen to the first question. Oh, I'm sorry. No. So on your governance scenario, is there are 2 scenarios, Somalia and Somaliland?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just it. Is there any other links there?
There's like 2, yeah, there's 2 links within the one card. It gives 2 ones.
So what is it?
So
So is it about Somalia and Somaliland?
Yes. The first name was a mindset shift away from the conflict towards an effective governance. That's the first one.
Okay.
And the second one is that by like providing Somali land independence, it causes the like Somali nationalists who
Okay,
want
yeah.
independence like stop that.
Yeah, how does, wait. So I cut this evidence independently, and how do both of these links resolve both crises? Because I think like the first link resolves the Somali crisis, the second link resolves the Somaliland crisis. How do they both resolve both?
It just like leads to less conflict between the two parties. Because if one party doesn't want to
Okay,
conflict, there's not gonna be a conflict. Like right now, there's a mutual conflict.
Okay, sure.
By removing the one's
Yeah.
interest, it's gonna like
Yeah,
influence the other.
yeah.
Let's go into your argument regarding your C4. Mind just briefly explaining it?
Yeah, so there are a couple of links. Basically, it's just that
How many?
broadly there are like seven. It's like
7 on the last contention.
okay, so it's
Name each one off.
Okay, yeah.
Each one, all 7.
okay, so I'll pull it up. The first link is that it nullifies the MOU and the MOU is good.
What do you mean by like nullifies the?
Because like the MOU obviously can't be true if you affirm and then because the Ankara agreement is reliant on the fact of non-recognition. I'll pull it up.
There's 7 links in your last contention.
Yeah. The second one is Somalia used the move as a direct challenge and opposes diplomatic costs. Third, negotiations against the Africa model for co-op. For example, Somalia and Ethiopia negotiating right now is a model. Fourth, the expensive cap. The AU has to focus on state building the new state of Somaliland instead of like their other initiatives. Fifth, it exacerbates tensions. Countries have to align with either Somalia or Somaliland. Sixth, it destroys AU standards. It breaks international law, which other countries then use to scapegoat.
Why is it breaking
international law? Because our evidence indicates that like recognizing Somaliland goes against the AU.
Like what specifically about? Like, it's like an issue with reading 7 links. Like nothing's warranted. So like, can you like
Okay,
give me the warrants that were
not
not in speech, not just the blips?
Wait, the warrants like are in this. If you want to say there's no warrant,
Well, I didn't have the evidence to look at during speech.
Yeah, if you want to like say that there's no warrant, you can say that there's no
Yeah,
warrant. Okay, on your trafficking argument, what outweighs the suffering we talk about or extinction?
The suffering.
Suffering outweighs
Well, it
extinction.
depends. It depends what we go from the back out. But if we want, it can go either way.
Okay, so we
Depends
don't
on the
know.
argument. We don't know. We don't know
Sure,
yet.
sure,
When I
you
weigh,
don't know that.
when I
That's
weigh, we'll know.
Yeah, that's fine. You can take a question.
Sure. Let's go into oil.
Yeah.
So there's been 0 extraction right now, or is it just not mass extraction?
No, there's no extraction right now. There used to be extraction, but the extraction stopped.
So in every part of Somaliland, they're not extracting any oil.
Or at least international organizations aren't there to extract it.
And what are these international organizations that would move in post staff?
Like countries like the US, like stuff like what you isolate your REM scenario, except wait, on the REM scenario you read in previous ones. Last time.
You isolate specific.
Okay. Let's take a little bit of that time start. Everyone know yet?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
To confirm, the text is just the card, like.
Yeah.
Text, right?
Yeah. Okay, that was ready.
time starts. Start on governance. They literally do not read uniqueness for this. Firstly, Somalia isn't collapsing. Their uniqueness is overblown, and the best evidence proves this. Muhammad 25 finds that billions of dead cancel liberation of towns from Al-Shabaab, country holding election in 2026. 2024 ended well. Somali forces are taking on Al-Shabaab and holding ground. However, the country needs to cool down. The situation is getting better. The only risk of instability is in the app. Also, all their evidence is about the December election, but post the election, which our evidence isolates, it says that governance is up. The new president means that there's unified plan integration. Canon 24, Wadani said that it will prioritize equitable governance and move away from centralizing power, host the ease clan-based tensions, foster the political integration of clan-based Somaliland, to the point where their evidence is before the election that said that, for example, the election may foster unstable governance, but ours is after giving you a certain response that says that no, governance is good now, you could prefer on a post-state. But even on the link level, one, they say recognition creates legitimacy, but international legitimacy without internal legitimacy generates elite insecurity. Verb top 20, when international legitimacy is devoid of domestic legitimacy, generates elite insecurity where the state is deployed against internal opponents, producing suppression that creates rebellion. Secondly, there's absolutely zero war for how he fought for war or why Somalia focused on governing. Somalia will still try and stop other countries from recognizing Somaliland before giving up, which is why they go to things like war. Thirdly, national sentiment doesn't matter. Somalia still sees recognition as territorially existential and will still always want to invade. There's also zero incentive for at least to focus on internal governing. And empirics prove this. We both give accurate analysis, but history only tells one story. We should have seen this happen during the MOU deal when Ethiopia threatened to recognize Somalia. Somalia didn't just start focus on internal governing. No, they came out and said and threatened to actually go to war, just empirically disproving their argument. But even then, on the Somaliland specifically, minority clans have a seat at the table now, stopping any impact of war. As a Server 24 finds, for the first time in Somaliland's history, minority clans have been granted full ministerial roles, cabinet also positions for a plan to determine the continued representation. Eastern clans have also been included. On the impact, they read instability, but have not read uniquely that instability is happening now. Before arguing this thing is stable, also, if you read the card, it just says continued war is bad, but the war that they talk about in their scenario has already ended. Then, on trafficking, one, Agrargi and Gershon and Noga are not about Somaliland. They're about Djibouti, Libya, Egypt, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And that's a dealing since their evidence is literally not about Somaliland. It says that these trafficking will always exist in other nations, also non-unique, since there's all past and proof that recognition is a non-issue, since all these countries have recognition and are in organizations that they say are so key, yet they are still subject to trafficking. Second, there's no explanation for what mechanism or how they solve trafficking. We get new responses when they actually explain what this organization does. Thirdly, other countries are in Interpol. Clearly, it hasn't solved. Fourthly, Interpol is useless. None of their evidence indicates that it works. Borman 24, Interpol published red notices close to useless, running refusal, and cancellations together makes it impossible to figure out how much abuse NDDF is catching before it occurs. Fifth, majority of human trafficking is in West Africa, proves that things like Interpol don't work, that there are recognized countries, and even if Somaliland can crack down, these traffickers just reroute. As UN 21 finds, West Africa tends to detect more victims than other countries in Africa. 3,336 were in West Africa. Six, there's no implication of this impact. You would argue that other impacts like war cause the same trauma, but also feel into refugees, which is the internal into their argument. Seven, the starting contest concedes that no African country fully meets the minimum standards for TVPA. And the study also says that Interpol solvency is in West Africa, where most of the trafficking is, not in East Africa, where Somaliland is. And their alternate evidence is about England, not even about the region. On piracy, on the uniqueness, one, piracy is decreasing. The Melon 24 data shows that piracy fell to the lowest level in 30 years in 2024, thanks to multilateral naval operations, improved security, and enhanced navigation on the link level. This is just not true. Piracy flows through recognized countries like Somalia, who have the ability to be regulated, and their evidence is extremely big. There's no more for how this solves. We've seen that these proofs. Somalia has received tons of UN sanctions, yet there's been no action. But even any concern that the perceptual possibility of recognition motivates Somaliland to counter piracy. Duo 11. Exceptionalism is central to counter piracy in Somaliland's effort to independent counter piracy and specific product of recognition. Piracy can trade as an essential difference between Somaliland and Somalia, and recognition increases recruitment. R24. Decision to recognize Somaliland enables Al-Shabaab to recruit coordination between Al-Shabaab and using all development trade. On Israel co-op, their evidence is not that the AU has to recognize it, just as the Israel should. Also, there's no warrant why Israel specific deters Houthi attack and release to direct Houthis within their own countries, but even then they're too bogged down by Palestine. Really quickly on cables. Cables were cut twice in October, there's no impact, and there's zero risk of internet disruption. So 15, in the past, cable have been tapped. If you eliminate all transatlantic connectivity, there's trans-Pacific. Each cable alone isn't detrimental to the internet. Traffic is diverted. Industry robust, built for failure. Cut every single undersea cable, and we still have things like satellites to solve. Yo, I'm under, bro. All right.
Well, that marked.
Everything.
Do you read everything on Israel?
Yeah, I did.
giving a thank you speech in the final round, and of course, it's one that has to be live streamed. I'd like to echo all of Michael's thank yous and also add and highlight a couple. First, to my parents, you handled a lot of logistics and support me at a lot of tournaments. To our former coaches, Noah and Zach, who've taught me basically everything I know about debate. To our school for supporting the debate program. To our school's debate coaching staff, in particular Frost and Brooke in the back, who have had to deal with Aiello and I for the past 7 days and also the next 4. Coach Emeritus, Father Michael Tidd, Program Director, Ms. Gormley, and coaches Mr. Corcoran and Ms. Corminga. To the robotics team for understanding my balancing debate every weekend and robotics every weekday. And last but not least, to the tournament tab staff for running such an efficient and smooth tournament. With that, I'll send Doc. What will be my case, their case? Has everybody received the doc? On governance, we'll bite that minority clans already are having a say in the how Somalia is run, which means that there's no civil war. But on the turn that Somalia sees an existential, Somalia doesn't have any power, which is why the MOU didn't actually cause anything on trap day. They tell that the evidence about Djibouti. No, they have conceded that it goes through Somalia, and even if the initial source of the trafficking is Djibouti, it can still go through other regions. They tell you that there's other countries with alternative routes. No, they still have to go through Somalia, and it's a choke point. That's our 2017 evidence. They say that other countries have Interpol. No, but they're not cooperating. Somaliland is the best democracy in the region, which is why Somaliland should be the place that you should put Interpol. Then they tell you that red notice don't solve. We tell you that Somaliland provides a unique place because it's because of the place where all of the trafficking goes through. Then they tell you that that West Africa has a bunch of Interpol stuff and it's solving there. No, our argument is that the reason you have to also put it in East Africa, otherwise they can reroute. They tell you that there's other rerouting. No, but when you cut off all of the route through Africa, you solve for the trafficking of the entire continent. Then they tell you that the solvency is already in West Africa. That's the same response to the 2-1 above. Then they tell you that Alston is about England. Yes, that's just saying that trauma applies to human trafficking survivors. Whether or not you get trauma doesn't change depending on what country you're getting trafficked in. On flocks. They tell you that it's down right now. Sure, it might be down right now, but we tell you that our evidence more specific to the Red Sea, and even if they win that it's up down right now, it can still go to up in the future, which is why you should need a firm to solve for it. Then they tell you that Somalia is recognized yet has piracy. They have conceded that Somaliland is a democracy, which is why Somaliland is much better for solving for it. Then they tell you that piracy is only for independence. No, we tell you that there's other incentives that like nationalism, which is why their evidence only said that it's one reason, not the only reason. Then they tell you that recognition increase in the recruitment. We tell you that doesn't. We tell you their evidence about terror. Their last response is that the evidence is about the AU has to recognize. We tell you our evidence finds that Israel follows the AU because the AU is the determining factor. Then they say that Israel has other things. Israel can do multiple things once they have a pretty big army. Then on cables, all of these responses are basically the same thing. Even if the cables are cut twice, they were the crucial cables in the Red Sea, which is why the SOX cables are so important. On their case. On secession and Bolton, first secessions are up right now. I'm 24. South Sudan, Eritrea, increasing number of national groups demanding secession. That means that it doesn't matter whether or not you choose Somaliland. Cut next card. But then, first term, recognition with facilitated security co-op. AMO 14, recognition with facilitated direct security cooperation and support political institution more likely to be done to bolster protection against potential violations of human rights. The second term, recognize sovereignty, discourages other secessionist movements, and delegitimize them. Survey 21. Somaliland is unique in Africa because it has successfully operated autonomously for 30 years. Recognition of its independence was delegitimized by establishing a difficult standard for achieving sovereignty. But on oil, first, the Allison evidence concedes that it's possible that Somaliland gets licensed to the status quo, which means that when oil becomes proven profitable, their impacts happen anyways. But second, their Walls evidence is so bad about Somalia in general. We read blue. Assessments generally include Somalia and place Somalia reserves at the same level as Pakistan. That means that it doesn't matter because the oil mining happens in Somalia proper anyways, on backlash. First, tensions are already high. War would happen. It would already happen. AFP 24. Somalia accused Ethiopian forces of deadly attack firefight until Somali forces were armed and wounded. That dispute began with Somaliland and cross-applied to turn on facilitating security co-op. But also, second, diplomacy fails without that. 121. Mogadishu does not want to Somaliland to go. While Hargeisa doesn't want to return to status quo. Future Somali government could attempt to subjugate Somaliland to another military confrontation. It's better to fiat than it just works this time instead of having another military confrontation. On regionalism, first, foreign relations are needed on demand coalitions to replace regional organization. Patrick 23. Multilateralism is not new. The Ukrainian ad hoc approach to collective action following the Cold War and continued pivot of platforms. Many other powers, great and small, have learned to play the same game. On DipCap, first, no DipCap because something the EU just declares it, then declares and allows other people to solve it. But then, second, no EU collapse the hair should stop anyways. On Iowa, first, there's no Iowa decree. Country thinks that it's legitimate. Their global evidence is about U.S. presidents on the AU. On the bioterror impact, there's no impact of bioterror and natural pathogens have far more years of evolution backing them and should dump. But on the impact of the conflict, the AU doesn't stop the conflict. Their evidence to jump about solving one conflict.
Yeah, fine.
All right, cool. It's sad.
I would suggest you bring up your. I'm gonna be asking you about some other ones.
Let me open my case docs then.
Yeah, please. Okay. Sorry. Can you first provide me a line specifically in your evidence that says that a majority of trafficking in the region is routed through Somaliland? Because all I can see is it just says it's a natural departure point. Nowhere does it say that it's all routed through there. Just give me all this highlighted.
We'd tell you that the reason that it's a
I don't care about a reason. Read me from your evidence.
No.
It's highlighted.
I can make analysis on like the reasoning behind the evidence. That's what debate is. It's not just finding an article and reading the entire article and then
So can you give me a line from your evidence that
the evidence finds that Somaliland is the best region for traffickers to go through?
Oh, where does it say best?
Sure. So we can go into trafficking, and what what Arduez defines is what Clapham defines is a non-recognition means that Somaliland stands to a large extent outside the mechanisms for regulating flows of
You're not
people.
answering my question. You just described
Somaliland provides
Alright,
a natural departure point for trafficking people into the Arabian.
Let's back up for a second. Because your claims in rebuttal were that all these other regions don't matter because they ultimately have to route through Somaliland. Yet all your evidence just says is reasons why Somaliland is good, not conclusive evidence saying that it's all routed through Somaliland.
Yeah.
So can you go to your first?
No.
Can you go to your first card? Wait, can you go to your first card?
No,
I'm gonna go to your first card.
No,
What is this? What country is this about?
Yeah,
the number of migrants in the Horn of Africa. What country is that about?
Yeah, it talks about there being a bunch of migrants in the Horn of Africa, but the countries the migrants arrive to doesn't matter insofar as it's just saying that it's increasing the risk of human trafficking in general. It's not saying that the risk of migration is increasing. But also, more importantly, we tell you this doesn't even matter insofar as our impacts are scalar anyways, even if you win that there's like some human trafficking left in the world.
Here's the issue with the scalar impact idea. When you talk about something like human trafficking, you don't get any access to scalar impacts because hear me out. If one route always exists, which we argue for your own evidence, there are places like Yemen and other
routes have capacity. If I tried shoving 10,000 people through this door
can you
in
just
1
please stop
second,
interrupting me for a second? Sure. Okay. The idea is that there's routes, and there's a lot of routes that these traffickers use, and the majority of them are not even in East Africa, they're in West Africa. Even if you solve some amount of human trafficking, the majority of your impact just gets diverted into other places. But it's been 2 minutes.
Okay, I think this is definitely not true because our evidence finds that Somaliland is the natural departure point, which we don't contend.
It's a natural departure
but
point.
okay.
It's been 2 minutes.
But moreover, I'll just answer quickly. We'd argue that even if we stop a single person from being trafficked, that's still on net good. But I'll take a question. let's go on to your argument on oil. Sure. So can you tell me where it says that Somaliland specifically is the breaking point for oil?
The argument isn't that Somaliland specifically is the breaking point for oil. We're arguing that Somaliland and Somalia both have oil. But when you do the resolution, that causes drilling specifically in Somaliland, which is bad. Like, yes,
why is it Somaliland specifically bad?
because it causes civil war. These clans in Somaliland, for example, the Duavante clan and the Isaac clan are
Yeah,
fighting.
but like you're all also clans in Somalia. Why is the
No,
drilling?
there isn't. It's mainly dominated by the Mogadishu and the other
Wait,
clans.
Mogadishu is the city, not the name of the clan.
Okay, Mogadishu is the like ruling government system.
No, it's
alright,
no, it's
let's-
not
let's
government
take a
of
second,
the
though,
either.
take a second, though, take a second, though.
There's gonna be a new card. It's just a lane card. Oh wait, actually there's a frontline card in the. Top shelf on returns, what just returns they with markets, hourly. Fine, start. Now, on co-op, if we win any tension scenario, prevents this argument since if countries in a war, they won't co-op, and if there are high tensions, people just won't do diplomacy. Second, the evidence is about US recognition. There's no implication for what this cooperation does. It just says they can do security cooperation. You don't know what that means. On the race to the bar turn, first, you need this controls the direction of the Lincoln. There's no risk of secession in the status quo. Even if the act raises the bar doesn't solve anything, there's no impact. Second, the bar is lowered. Right now, the bar is that the AU literally will never recognize any form of secession. Plus, we'll concede the demons that kick the turn. We're going for invasion. Somaliland's de-escalated amid the new president, but after first recognition forces Somalia to invade to stop Somaliland's independence. They view it as an accidental threat. Second, China pushes Somalia to invade to prevent Somaliland supporting Taiwan, draws in other powers and goes nuclear with ending arbitrary and proxy wars and no communication. They continue to do radiation poisoning, destroying food. First, they say that tensions are up now. The evidence cites that MOU as the reason tensions went up. That proves that our argument, that literally proves our argument because if the MOU was literally a recognition of Somaliland and the MOU was solved for by the Ankara Declaration, their evidence is post-dated. Their evidence about their scenario about Ethiopia Ethiopia, it doesn't matter because it's not about Somalia and Somaliland. They say diplomacy fails without the app. It doesn't matter if there's no incentive to go to war. It doesn't matter. We don't need diplomacy if they don't go to the war in the first place. And Somalia won't negotiate as 024. Somalia said there was no room for mediation unless Ababa comes to deal with Somaliland comments after the AU country to engage in dialogue towards a peaceful peace. Somalia sees its sovereignty and territorial integrity violated. Third, they say the MOU should have triggered it. It was a much smaller scale since it didn't make Somaliland fully independent with just one country recognizing it, and it did cause tensions per the first Evan case, but it was solved back by Ethiopia withdrawing recognition, which proves our link. On Wang, first time frame, it's instant. The plan's perception instantly forces Somalia to invade. On the other hand, their scenarios take years since Interpol just immediately start working and immediately stop all trafficking routes, and there's no bright line going. Piracy caused extinction. Second, sequencing first, you only die once to extinction. Short circuits those scenarios and frames out period. Triodize irrelevant and required solvency, which while current case arguments function as terminal defense, which means that there's no risk to try or die if there's no risk of their scenarios since everybody is dead, and also means you can't solve for trafficking. Third, invasion forces Somaliland and Somalia to turn inward and deal with insecurity, which prevents solvency for trafficking or piracy. Fourth, invasion weakens countries, which emboldens malicious groups like traffickers or pirates to go in and use the opportunity. Fifth, during a war, it's impossible for aid to get into a country, so they can't actually get the aid to fight piracy or trafficking. And sixth, war links into trafficking. During war, militias use it as an opportunity to do things like human trafficking, empirically proven by like every single war. And extinction is underrepresented. Of course, 18 extinction is a marketing department. Experts estimate the risk is around 1 in 10. The problem is lack of awareness about threats and what can be done. U.S. adults reward chances ranking of 1 in 10 million. Risk mitigation strategies require widespread communication of existential threats. On their case, on trafficking, first, the majority of human trafficking in West Africa proves that things like Interpol don't work since there are recognized countries. They say Somaliland is specifically key. It doesn't matter if Somaliland prevents a bit of trafficking, because our argument is not just that trafficking is not unique. That is one of the arguments, but secondly, it proves that Interpol does not work. They say that Somaliland is unique because it's a democracy. Plenty of countries in West Africa are also democracies, and there's no implication for why it being a democracy uniquely works. On piracy, they can see the uniqueness of piracy is down. This Denville 24 evidence, which says the initial piracy threat fell. There's a multilateral naval operation. They say it can increase in the future, but they don't respond to the warrants in card. We have sufficient international counterparty efforts. Now there is terminal people to their impact. There's zero risk of internet disruption. We saw cables cut twice in October already. That's fine.
Okay. How would you do 24 is the front? My case, weighing their case. So. Let me know if I don't get it. No new cards. No new cards, no. It's ready. My time will begin. Now, we'll continue defensive trafficking. Means never be solved in the region. We're going for arguments locks extended. Red Sea Jersey, pirates and Houthis posting aggressive flocks right now will extend their link enables Israel cooperation countries to wait for the AU recognize that Somalia enables inter cooperation to solve piracy Houthi battle through creating military bases, lost communication, cost miscalculated due perceived attack, anybody causes great power involvement due to resource sensitive security, escalation to conflict, great power to use goes nuclear against China's conventional nuclear military link right now, unfortunately small strikes, escalating causing extinction during nuclear winter that makes it too cold to do nuclear food. All the responses, all they extend is that piracy is down overall right now, and they basically consider warrants. They can see the fact that their evidence not specific to the Red Sea, which our evidence finds it right now at risk right now. Read the evidence. It said the Red Sea is choking point at risk right now for the most major capitals. That's conceded at their last speech. Willing to bring up new responses. Then they just extend their ink that the key ones that have already been cut. No, the two cables already been cut. Those weren't the key ones, but the reason why that's dangerous because it shows that they're able to cut cables right now, but the key ones are going to be cut really soon, which is why it's tried to act for the affirmative. Go to the way. On the way, they don't access any of this human trafficking because they kick out the defense, meaning no one can actually solve for it. It's always going to get worse no matter what. On the time frame, they say their organs instantaneously, but it doesn't cause extinction instantaneously because the war scenario that still has to go on. The Somalian troops have to go in and they get Egypt and China on their side. They don't just randomly spawn a military force in the region. On the contrary, our argument actually isn't meaning because Israel already has the bases in Somaliland. They just needing to be efficient, which only happens post recognition, which is why they already have the base in the region, can immediately solve post af. And we say it's imminent risk because they consider uniqueness being the triad after the af. It's going to happen tomorrow. On the contrary, still. He's a while for their worst scenario to happen at that point. Then they extend extinctions first. We'll bite that. We'll agree extinctions should always come first in the round, but we'll also read more when next week or prerequisite because if SLOCs collapse, it's going to cause other actors like China to be more focused on their domestic issue. Actually, no. We'd say that the only solvency for the argument itself is it's a prereq because if SLOCs collapse and there's a whole issue in the Red Sea, that's going to also draw in Somaliland and Somalia because it's directly connected to them. So they're going to be drawn into that conflict before they can worry about the separate conflict they're talking about in their case with the prerequisite and causing more tension to spur automatically. But moreover, we also weigh on probability because the MOU should approve this. They said the MOU is going to do the same thing. So A approves the time from the arguments not instantaneously. The MOU, they said they're going to instantly do it, but yet they didn't. They were always going to wait for some cooperation to occur. But more importantly, we also weigh on probability with these SLOCs like actually be comfortable right now, but the nuclear ones haven't yet. Then on their case. We'll extend the security cooperation turn that post other international actors come in the region to do squad cooperation. They say in a conflict scenario is unable to do that. But the issue with that is the other actors can come in. It won't be Somalia and Somaliland doing the security cooperation within the region. And that check backs with their arguments. Then they say our evidence about U.S. recognition specifically, but they can see the argument out of case that AU recognition is the one that causes the U.S. recognition to spur over. That evidence conceded. It's in the case in SLOCs, and I extended the last speech. Then they say there's no matter cooperation is going to fail no matter what. There's no war. We say cooperation is going to succeed in this specific case. Then. We'll extend the thing. The tensions are already high right now. They say it's about the MOU, means it's an independent reason to vote for us. No, it's also talking about other factors tensions being high within the region right now, and those tensions are still within the region right now. So that's another reason to vote for us, but also proves the fact that Somalia never actually invaded in the MOU, despite them literally saying they're going to do it automatically. Ross?
Sure.
Yeah. All right, you have first question.
I'm sorry. Actually, we'll take a little bit of something.
Less. All right, let's first question.
Sure. Let's go to piracy. When is when is your slot thing happen? When is your impact of slot?
It's gonna happen tomorrow.
Okay. Where?
Because you can see uniqueness out of the last speech because you're partner.
Wait, can you can we look at your uniqueness? Does it say that piracy is increasing?
Please finish.
Yes.
Yes.
It does not.
It actually says that.
Also, this should have been contested.
Yeah, this
a
has
long
not been
time ago.
making this
your
analysis
partner
is
basically just-
grand
yeah.
cross. Like
Your
your partner verbatim said,
your
they
part-
concede our uniqueness.
Yeah,
and
your
no
part-
interaction of our front lines for any of the stuff he tried getting with 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I'll take a question. Let's go on to the time frame weighing. Why is it instant? Like, what's the warrant your evidence gives, not just your.
But it's perceptual to Somalia.
Why is it
Somalia student? Wait.
Yeah, that evidence. Wait. That evidence is pre-MOU. So why didn't we see it? Because they said for the same thing. If any country,
Wait, is Ethiopia recognizing Somalia?
No.
Right
Your evidence said.
Is
the evidence-
Ethiopia
wait.
recognizing Somalia?
Somalia's policy, the international policy in Somalia was, if any country in the
All
world
right, let's clear this up.
recognizes, wait, let me finish. If any
You're
country in
asking
the
me a
world,
question.
please finish. If any country in the world recognizes Somaliland, they'll immediately invade. Why did they wait for negotiations if that, your own evidence says it was perceptual then too?
Okay, the MOU deal never went through. Ethiopia never.
The MOU was signed, like there was a formal signing of the MOU.
It was they functionally recognized it
yeah.
all but me.
Just let me talk. Thank you. The MOU deal never went through. Ethiopia never really formally recognized Somaliland, and they withdrew the recognition after Ankara brokered the deal. And
How many months later?
Ethiopia. Can I finish?
It was 6 months later.
Can we finish?
All right,
Yeah.
so don't ask me questions if you don't want me to answer them.
But you
I'm
guys
trying to answer the
guys-
question.
Okay, sure, you can finish, but I'm just saying.
It's fine, I'll take a question.
You're not saying the truth. You have.
It was functionally
Yeah.
recognized, but like you can have a question.
Okay, let's go to the slots argument. Why didn't the line being cut on October trigger?
They weren't the key lines.
That was also.
What is the
conceded
key
from-
line?
That's also
what is
the
not
key
a
front
key
line.
line?
So even if they weren't, if there
What
weren't
is a key
lines, the
line
front line.
and what is a key line and what is not a key
Sure,
line?
the bigger cables are more important.
Yeah.
We'd say that your argument's talking about the smaller cables that were cut, and there was no interaction with the front line in the last speech, so it's considered that. That question?
Sure.
Let's go on to tensions being, let's go to the security cooperation turn. You say it's like that conflict's gonna stop it. Have we never seen security cooperation during other conflicts?
We say specifically that it won't happen in the conflict between Somalia and Somaliland because Somalia outright rejected negotiation for cooperation, which is conceded evident.
Wait, but them
Like
rejecting, they reject, there's a difference between them rejecting cooperation and other actors such as the US, the UN coming in and doing the cooperation with Somaliland.
Yeah, like you don't it doesn't have to be Somalia that does
Yeah.
the cooperation because if all of its neighbors cooperate and say, hey, if you do an invasion, we're going to intervene. That means that Somalia doesn't intervene.
Sure, that's not sure. All right, we have 4 seconds time. Gonna be weighing first. Our weighing respond to their weighing, our case, their case. We've got this part, by the way. It's too long. All right, everyone ready?
Yeah.
Time starts. Start on time frame, affirming its instant. The planned perception instantly forces Somalia to invade or at least spike tensions. On the other hand, their scenario takes years since Interpol doesn't immediately start working, and there's no violent for when piracy actually destroys the economy. They say Israel can put a base there immediately. No, it takes years to build a base and pass a policy to do it, especially since Israel is bogged down in a conflict. Also, read this evidence. It's actually terrible. If you believe that piracy impact is going to happen tomorrow, then automatically drop them because you know for a fact that Israel cannot spawn a base over there tomorrow. Also, even if their link is immediate, we would argue that they don't have long-term solvency. Since the moment a civil war happens, attention is rediverted back to addressing the civil war and away from piracy. So we don't need to win time frame to win our Lincoln because they have to prove that counter-terror and counter-piracy happens for a long term. But the moment the civil war happens, the attention is diverted away. At that point, we're winning the time frame. Any Lincoln means you auto-sign your ballot for Blair. They conceded 2 of them, rejecting response to the next speech. You just sign your ballot now. 1 invasion forces Somalia and Somalia to charge inward, or prevent solvency for piracy, targeted by piracy in the middle of the war, and if tensions are spiked, Somalia and won't call to fight against piracy. But even if they don't win a conflict scenario, we're still winning around. On their way, on track, I think no other risk of solvency, but intervening actors always solve. They see if stocks collapse, countries will get drawn into war. Our scenario happens first, and this argument was incoherent in the last speech. They say the MOU proves time frame isn't instant. Concede that this is entirely different because Somaliland did not become independent. One country recognized them, and that did not make them an independent country. Our argument is about when Somaliland becomes independent. That's only when it's externally existential. Also, that takes out their MOU response. 4, they say that they've seen stocks cut the force of the entire probability. This is the reason why their argument isn't probable because stocks were caught and it didn't escalate on invasion. Somaliland de-escalated a mini president act that forced Somalia to invade to stop Somalian independence. They good external draws on other powers and go nuclear with energy armed treaties and proxy wars with no communication
exceeding the radiation push minister showing who they get how the countries can come to stop conflict. They've cold conceded Somalia will not negotiate for the conceded Al Jazeera evidence proven by them not negotiating the MOU until Ethiopia withdrew recognition. And the Justice League evidence is terrible. It says that they can do security operations, but there's no implication. They also take all factors being touched down. They did not read any of these in their last speech. Look, read every card and sign your ballot. It's so bad. On their case, they can see the uses of piracy down for Amendment 24. They have not responded to the warrant that said that international collaboration, even in the Red Sea, is specifically working. Even if you just believe Red Sea is better, their evidence also doesn't say that piracy is increasing. But just read the warrant's upper card and then look at their cards.
Twenty 23 seconds, 24 seconds, right? That's their fault.
Order will be in my case, Wayne, then their case. Is everybody ready? This computer won't go to sleep, right?
No, it won't. Go.
Extend Slots, Red Sea insurgent, piracy, the Houthis posing minimum Slots versus we're going through the link on Israel cooperation. Countries are waiting for the Israeli to recognize Somalia and enables Israel co-op to solve piracy and Houthis violence through creating military bases. Also, communication causes this country to perceive attack and causes great power involvement in resources essential for security escalation conflict with great powers. Dual use powers to go nuclear. China's conventional nuclear military are linked unfortunately small tracing escalating and cause extinction through a nuclear winter that makes it too cold and too dark to grow food. Their only response to the uniqueness response that says that piracy is down overall right now. They have conceded that our evidence is more specific, and all of this implications about all of this implications about the warrant are brand new. And Cooper did not extend a warranted summary, which is why you always look to the more specific evidence first, and on why you do the Red Sea, why you look for the evidence that's specifically about the Red Sea, and tell them that the piracy is going to be resurging now. On the way. We're going to go for the time frame, Wayne, that they can see that it takes a while for the actors come in and MOUs for proof that Somalia always looks for cooperation, which means that it takes a long time for their civil war, for Somalia retaliation to actually happen. But Israel already has bases right now, which means that it means that it's instant. It's try or die here. On their time frame waiting, they just tell you that Israel takes forever to build new bases. They have missed the point that it's not that Israel builds new bases, it's that Israel already has bases in the region and it's using them to go into Somaliland when they get permission from Somaliland. On their prereq, they tell you that there's no long-term solvency. One, this is definitely new weighing in final focus, but even then, we tell you that it doesn't actually prereq because Israel solves for the root cause. Then they have also conceded our probability weighing. That's because of the MOU. You've seen that even when a country promises for further recognition, all that happens is Somalia blows smoke and kicks the can further down the road and has no idea. And you have no idea whether or not this will actually happen. But you have seen piracy empirically happen in the past. I don't care what you think comes first. This probability weighing is conceded, which means that their case probably won't happen. So you always look at the probability weighing first because it doesn't matter how fast something happens if it doesn't on time frame. Then. On the backlist things, that cooperation happens, and there's other old factors.
Here, guys.
I don't if you told.
I saw it.
Okay. So it ended up being a 2-1 decision.